oh, hey, I'd share, but it's kind of my only meal of the day. And, you know, the whole camera screen dilemma. But hey, I will do you one better and actually show you what my typical plant-based one meal a day actually looks like, and why I choose to eat it earlier in the day rather than later in the day. You know what they say, teach a man to fish. Teach a man to farm. Let's go with that one. Anyway, we'll get into it, but I'm gonna need a minute first. Yo, what is up, my beautiful health-seeking people? Welcome back to yet another episode of How to Health, How to Eat edition. My name is Kevin. I run liftimbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic manner. So this week, as you already heard in the intro, and if you're still here, I'm assuming you want to know something about it, unless this video just started auto-playing as you were taking your hourly technology and movement break. See what I did there? Or not, if that wasn't the case. I mean, I typically don't get off track this earlier in the video, but we'll reel it back in here. We are talking plant-based OMAD. And if you don't know what OMAD is, it stands for one meal a day. And today, I'm gonna give you a live look at what my OMAD meal typically looks like, what's in it, what are the benefits, why I choose a early feeding window, the science, and, well, you know, whatever else you want to talk about. So throw any questions you have throughout this down in the comments. I will make sure I get to them all. You ready? Let's roll. First off, a little background. I like to experiment. I have made my way through a plethora of different fasting protocols over the past 2 years, documenting them all, along with a lot of the new and exciting research in the field throughout the process. You can see all this in the Fasting 101 playlist. Tons of videos if you want to get in the weeds, if you have a few days to kill, check it out. I'm kidding, it won't take a few days, only, well, maybe a few days, I don't know. So I started OMAD, one meal a day, a few months back as a way to transition off a more extreme ADF protocol, or alternate day fasting. And since then, I've pulled on a few different nutritional levers, optimizing both micro and macro nutrient intake over what I like to call a daily OMAD grazing window. The window I eat in is between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. So I will have my meal, my big meal, sometime in that window, and I'll tell you why. It's because new and very preliminary research is beginning to trickle out supporting the hypothesis that humans are better equipped to metabolize their food, their energy, earlier in the day rather than later in the day. The research has shown that this way of eating improves 24-hour glucose, insulin sensitivity, cortisol alignment, circadian gene expression, evening BDNF, and certain longevity gene expressions when compared to a later eating window. And if you ask me, it's a pretty good list. And even though research is very preliminary, it's something that I followed for, the last 2 years, and I've actually enjoyed quite a bit. Another thing you have to keep in mind when choosing a feeding window is your sleep and your sleep quality. And the data shows that big late night meals right before bed actually worsen glucose tolerance and fatty acid oxidation and mobilization, AKA your fat flux, or being able to pull from those fat stores and either burn it as energy or redistribute. You add these potential detrimental metabolic activities with the fact that you're going to be dedicating a lot of blood flow to those intestines to digest your meal, taking away the blood flow that should be going and cleaning the brain via the lymphatic system, your nightly brainwash. You have some serious things to consider here, at least in my opinion. So if you're exploring OMAD or you're currently doing OMAD, I would say take a hard look at when you eat your meal and try to make it at least 3 hours before you go to sleep, so you have some time to digest. Just a recommendation. Take it or leave it. It's all up to you. No pressure. All right, enough talk. It is time to eat. First, during my fasting windows, which are typically 22 to 23 hours each and every day, I will do a couple of things. I will drink water, obviously. I will drink black coffee or tea in the morning. And of course, my de facto go-to Pellegrino's sparkling mineral water. Because everything from Italy just tastes better. I swear. We're not sponsored. Sponsor me if you're watching. I can't keep spending thousands a week on this shit. Okay, it's really only hundreds, but might as well take a sip now. I just like the bubbles. That's what it comes down to. Prolonged fasts, this and Topos Chicos, my go-tos. Okay, back on track once again, because you keep taking us off track. I will be the responsible one getting us back on track. Every now and then, once or twice a week, I will have some squeezed lemon water right before I break my fast to get those digestive juices and enzymes going, preparing for food. I typically do this on Tuesdays, and the reason I do it on Tuesdays is because every single Monday, I do a full fast. Water only, don't eat the whole day, clear out the system, and what could make Monday better than not eating, right? It actually works. It gives you more focus, energy, no Monday blues when you're not eating. Your cortisol is ramped up a little and you're raring to go. Hopefully Steve from accounting doesn't say anything he'll regret. Just saying. So when it's finally time to eat, here's what it looks like. First, get a big bowl. Okay, it's not that big, but it's big. I douse it with a little olive oil, throw in some Himalayan pink salt, and then I go with some spices. This varies a little bit, but recently I've been using some curry powder, some chili powder, and some cayenne pepper. Throw some oregano in there, I'll throw some turmeric in there. Depends, it depends. I like spice, so you gotta go with kind of your taste here. Then I get out my big pot. Everything's big here. Get out my medium-sized saucepan and get the plant protein on the stove. So what I typically do is get a few cans of beans on the stove, anything from pinto, black, kidney, chickpeas, any type of beans, I'll eat it. And then I'll also add some peas and edamame. And some days I'll actually go with a 2-ingredient edamame pasta from a brand called Explore. All organic, GMO-free, 2 ingredients, I think I said that, and throw that in there as well. Just that pasta alone is over 100 grams of plant protein. You add in the beans and stuff like that. You're doing it right from a protein perspective, because I know everyone cares about protein. Everyone, needs their protein, plenty of protein. So I'll mix in something like that, a lower carb, higher dietary fiber pasta. That's what I like to aim for. A few days a week, and for the rest of the days a week, I'll just go with some sort of bean medley, if you call it that. A bean medley. So that gets stovetop. I like to bring it to a boil and boil out any of the lectins that sometimes come with beans, especially beans like kidney beans that could get absorbed into your system and cause a tiny bit of well, it varies by people, but it could cause somewhat of an autoimmune response. You don't want that. That's why people stay away from nightshades and stuff like that, because it potentially have lectins in it that can bypass the gut barrier and confuse the immune system, cause inflammation. Boiling helps, at least with the beans and things like lentils and stuff like that. Next, we take out an assortment, an array of different fruits, veggies, fibrous, nourishing, real foods. And this is the second time in my videos I've used fibrous. It's definitely a made-up word, but 2 times, it kind of sticks now. I'm gonna say it every day. I get out the cutting board and start dicing garlic, red onions, cucumbers, apples, jalapenos or other peppers, 2 or 3 tomatoes, a little celery, some mushrooms. I typically mix, the specific type of mushrooms. Today I'm going with shiitake, but I like to mix it up. Some cilantro or the master detoxifier, some broccoli sprouts, which, little known fact, or if you're, in tune with the health community, you probably know this, broccoli sprouts contains a compound called sulforaphane, which has mighty, mighty anti-cancer properties. And the interesting thing about sulforaphane is it is in high potency in the sprouts of broccoli, much higher than the actual adult plant. So I love to add this basically null tasting sprout into my big bowl, big bowl, and take it as a nice little anti-cancer bonus, because why not? Then I'll take a few leaves of flat kale or romaine, cut it up, toss it in there, mix it all up, make sure that that olive oil seasoning gets on everything, every last nook and cranny of those awesome veggies. Then it's time to add the plant protein in. By now I've strained the bean/pasta mix if it's in there, make sure I wash it down, and then take it over to the big bowl and plop it on in there. Get a little mixing action going, throw in the 2 avocados that have been waiting very, very patiently. If there's a tomato left, I throw it in there at this time. And then I do kind of a final round of seasoning, or what I'd call a healthy sprinkle of nutritional yeast and a splash of apple cider vinegar. And by now my mouth is watering and it's time to chow down. And I might have to pause the video now because now I'm hungry. So if we turn to what the potential caloric load of that entire meal is, from a macro perspective, we're looking at probably around 400 grams of carbohydrates, between 125 and 160 grams of protein, and then somewhere probably around 100 grams of fat. And I can't even begin to think how much dietary fiber is in there. It's definitely a lot. It fills you up. It's very filling. Like I said, I have a grazing window to finish this whole big bowl. And I typically do eat the whole thing. And if I'm gonna take a guesstimate, as you can tell, I'm a big calorie counter over here. I don't think I've counted calories in my life. Too much work. But if I had to put a guesstimate on the energy load that's in that one meal a day, I'm thinking probably around 4,000-ish to 4,500-ish calories. Now, just to level set here, I am very active. I work out a lot, I move a lot, I'm up and on the go. Live a very active lifestyle. That's why I'm totally comfortable, and I'm actually finding myself losing fat mass as a result of these last couple of months on OMAD. And here's the point where you say, no two people are exactly alike. There are a lot of different components in the mix when we're talking about getting healthy. Primary endpoints such as weight loss, such as fat loss, such as getting more metabolically healthy. It all depends on a million different factors. So take the time to understand you and optimize the protocols that you try out to what works best for you and where you see the best results. And track as much as you can. But you don't have to count calories. And that's it. There you have it. No scientific equations, no advanced algorithms, no calorie counting. Just having a good understanding of where you're currently at and testing some things out. Our bodies are amazingly resilient and adaptive organisms. We would never have made it this far as a species if we weren't. So enjoy these very prosperous times that we all live in. But it's very important not to shoot ourselves in the foot by overdoing it. The biggest modern day threat to the majority of Western society is 21st century disease. And it's all about taking back ownership of your health and owning your outcome. And I find that testing protocols like these, like some sort of intermittent fasting protocol, doesn't need to be OMAD, doesn't need to be anything extreme, but it at least helps you baseline what you need to do to live the lifestyle that you're living and do it in a healthy fashion. So let me know what questions, comments, random thoughts you have below. And if you'll excuse me, kind of running out of time.